But I think it's important though, like when you do have these like
distractions,
these life moments, regardless of what it is, to try and really not take your phone out and like just take it all in. And like I like the whole thing. Like I read a lot of stuff about Buddhism. Not that I'm that. I just find it incredibly interesting.
There's a lot
about
of wisdom in Buddhism.
Yeah, like being present and like that how like just everything about time and stuff. And like, do you think you're going to be on your deathbed like, oh, I wish I was on Facebook right now?
Yeah,
like you want to be around the people you love. Like that's it.
Yeah. I think this is a perfect transition to kind of tie into like faith and stuff, because you have an understanding of different religions, an understanding of faith and all that kind of stuff.
I'm not an expert, but I try to do as much research
none of us
as
are,
possible.
Right? We're still learning, students. But to even like go back to what we were talking about is just a simple example of David and Goliath, right? Like for example, when David was faced with Goliath, he didn't have to say, "Oh well, God, but I need steroids to beat these guys" and stuff. He had faith, and he had that Holy Spirit that he was like, I can take on him. And guess what? With one stone, with one swing, he put him down.
I was just reading.
I think
you know that, right?
You were just reading that too?
I just read that chapter. Yep.
Hold on. So, after you're done, I guess you
can say this is
it's a good one.
Just a story that shows one, the God-given power and God-given strength to be able to overcome these challenges. But at the same time, I think it also shows that sometimes we rely on the things that we think is good for us, but in reality it brings us to destruction, such as steroids and all these kind of stuff. And people are looking for shortcuts. People want to do things quick, but they don't want to look for the ways that are actually optimal long term, but it takes effort to look into these stuff,
Yes, the next viral video is going to be like, was David natty or not? Like, like
David Goggins?
David and Goliath.
But
what I was going to go with that is real quick. Do you guys know the other story about King David in the Bible?
Which one?
The one about him and his, I think it was like one of his top lieutenants and his army.
No, tell us about it.
So after all this happens, he becomes King David.
Yeah.
And he's
and he was very young too, dude. He was
18, so 18, this is the part that they don't tell you in Catholic school, but it's a great story. So David, all this stuff happens. He's one of his top lieutenants in his army. He sees his wife showering one day or bathing. So he ends up having sex with her. And then they're having an illegitimate child. And then, so David doesn't have to deal with it. He sends that guy to the front lines and has him die on the battlefield so he could be with his wife now that he had a bastard child with his wife.
Ooh, wait, I think it was the different girl. He lusted after her, right?
Yeah. And that
wasn't his wife. It belonged to a different guy.
But where I'm going with this is it's a very like it makes you. It's nice to read these stories, about people being humans and stuff. Like someone that was so heroic in one stance could be
like look what he just did.
Yeah, exactly.
He literally murdered a guy just to be with a woman that he lusted after,
and a guy that honored him, and all that, and dude was lustful after his wife. They had an illegitimate child, and
it wasn't even a wife. It was just, then she became his wife later. But
she became
when
his
he first met her, she was just somebody that he lusted after, and it points out that it wasn't like love or this type of thing. It was just straight up lust. And no, I'm so glad you point that out.
But it's just funny because everyone talks about David and Goliath, and that part just goes out the window.
No, true. And what the another important thing is the whole understanding of being selfless and not being selfish, and just understanding that there's something beyond you, that now you don't really think about yourself as much as you think about other people. Mm-hmm. Things that you like, for example, with you said you want to be the best version of yourself for your wife. You're gonna have kids later, all these type of stuff. And it's like you have this fire that you want to live for something outside of just yourself and to please yourself, because that's not fulfilling. It might be pleasurable at the moment, but it's really not fulfilling.
So I have this thing all the time. I say, and this is a very cynical way to look at life, but you know, like you kind of look at civilization sometimes, and like we have all these really smart geniuses, whether they're in the field of mathematics or whatever they're in, whatever they could put. And like some become like lawyers that like go after like ambulance chasers and stuff like that. And like sometimes I wonder to myself, like how much true talent, like genius level people, are we wasting people just because they want to collect a paycheck?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Like how many people are not actually following their
like,
true passion, right?
Like, could we have progressed more as a society? Like, but then like on the other side of it, I think I go, civilization's basically a miracle. Like you think about it, like when you look back in time, like people were probably back in the day when food was scarce and stuff during the ice age, like there were probably like cannibals and different stuff, though. Like it was probably rough living, like, you know, like where food was scarce and stuff. And like you see all these like apocalyptic shows, whether it's like Walking Dead, and like you could see the true evil in people. Like it is a miracle that we've gotten to this point where like you have to worry about some things, but it's not like every day you're like, this could be my last day. You know, well, it could, but like it's not to that level.
Right.
But there's a different struggles now. It's like more spiritual type of struggles. Back then it was all more physical, but you know, like it has like obviously like both were really bad, but I just really can't say which one was worse.
Which one's worse?
Which one was worse? Yeah.
No, I get it. I mean, that's
probably
a good
spiritual
question.
because it's like when you don't have that humanity in you, it just the detrimental and most probably the worst thing you can have, if you ask me. If I had to choose.
We live in a world of evil and temptation.
Yeah.
And civilization is very frail.
How do you manage to kind of get your mind straight and your actions straight to not being tempted by all the evil that is going in the world and the devil's whispers in the ear and stuff, you know, trying to tempt you.
You know, we're all tempted in one way or another. Yeah. It could be small things, but like I just read a book and basically it was talking about like, so the concept of it was we all have this moral line in the sand we draw. And how many people do you know that cross it and go, I'm just going to do it this one time to get out of this jam I'm in or this situation I'm in. And you know what? Once you cross it that one time, you will cross it every other time after that. Because it's always going to be, I'm done after this. I'm done after this. I'm done after this. And
it's like playing with fire, which I always tell people.
It's the greed of human nature.
Yeah. How do you work through that?
How do I work through that? Yeah. I mean, I really try to do...
Because you said you're looking
into
Buddhism right now, right?
What?
You said you're looking into Buddhism right now?
No, I just like reading about it. I like reading about Catholicism, Christianity, Judaism, whatever.
Because you know stories in the Bible too,
yeah,
right?
I mean, I'm always trying to watch something on history or whatnot and just try to understand and maybe see things differently because, like...
For sure.
You know, like... Perception's everything, and just because we interpret something one way over another doesn't mean someone's wrong, you know. It just means we don't say it the same way. But how I deal with it is obviously through working out. I feel like that puts me in a meditative state. When I'm done, I have appreciation. I try to eat clean, and that gives me appreciation because, you know, you're in better shape, you're in better health. And one thing I try to do every single night, and I basically do it, but there's sometimes I miss. The first thing I do is pray. When you pray, for me, what I do is I don't ask for anything. What I do is I thank God for everything I have. It's my family, it's my friends, it's the time I have with people, it's all of that. So then... after you're done praying and, you know, you're not asking for anything, like, for instance, like another thing, I thank God for all the achievements I have. And because, in my opinion, whether you believe or not, that's up to you. I believe, but I thank him, and it isn't possible without him, you know? Amen. And then after that, I go through my day from the time I get up to the time I fall asleep, the day I just had. And when you do that, you realize how many things went right for you that day and how little went wrong for you.
Yeah.
You do. You have 20, 30 things that went right for you.
Yeah.
And
that's
we all focus on them 1 to 2 things that went wrong. So then after that, I'm doing this as I'm laying down, so I could fall asleep at any moment. So that's why I said I can't do it. Then the next step I try to do is I try to plan out my next day as closely as I can. So it's get up, work out, run, get a shower. And then when you see all these things, you have these appreciations that people in the past didn't have or now don't even have,
exactly.
There's plenty of places in the world that don't even have clean water, so the fact that you could get up or they don't have hot water or something like that, it just, when you start analyzing everything to that depth, you grow an appreciation, in my opinion, that is you can be happier and kinder to people. Even being here with you guys, I would have never thought that someone would have me on their show and want to hear my opinion about anything. I'm very honored about that. Yeah. I'm very honored about that. And, it's very inspiring seeing all you guys, you ask these questions and stuff like that. And who knows, maybe this helps one person,
and that's enough.
Yeah, that one person's better than none. And who knows what that person's capable of? You have to keep asking yourself, what are you capable of? What are you capable of to keep pushing forward?
I love that. I love that mindset is because, when your actions align with what you say and how you live your life and stuff, it makes you humble. And, just like what the Bible says that, the understanding, the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom, and just the wisdom coming from God is the outlook on understanding what you couldn't have and what you actually do have, meaning you're blessed for what you have because you are looking on a broad scheme of things on what other people don't have or what the world is struggling with, and you have it right here, right in front of you without you having to do anything about it. People have to walk to get, let's say, their water. People have to go and drink a dirty water, but you have a clean water right here, and you can go buy from the stores as many as you want. It's available, meaning we live in abundance in this country. So when you have that perspective and you have a relationship with God, things just become more appreciative, even if you don't have as much as you might want to have. You know what I mean? Even the little things you're okay with. This doesn't mean that you're comfortable, you don't want to grow anymore, you don't want to get better, but this just gives you the peace and the joy of the moment that you actually do have everything that you need, and that comes from God and His grace only.